Welcome to another SirJamesDTech video. It should be plainly obvious to you that I've done a personal system upgrade. And rather than go with my original plan of taking each part as it came in, doing an overview individually, review, stuff like that like I normally would, what I decided to do was just wait until the system was fully put together, more or less, and then kind of give a brief overview. Now, over there you can see the old setup, along with some of my college stuff. That was the 800D, and I can still distinctly remember each and every piece that I looked at. Remember the 800D, there's that front panel. Still got the Maximus IV Extreme. Now I'm parting it out. 2600K is gone. The 2670s are gone. And then, yeah, each piece is kind of going, well, parting out. So, but yeah, this is, I feel, a worthy upgrade. I was kind of waiting to see what was coming along down the pike. And hey, this really, I feel, was a good time to kind of step things up, be set for a little while. So, as per usual, I guess there's no better place to start than the front. I have the Corsair 760T. Now, the reason I went with this particular case rather than the, you would figure the 900D would be the next logical step, but I'm not doing that crazy water cooling stuff anymore. You know, I don't do enough video editing. I don't do a lot of things that really warrant that type of cooling. I mean, hey, with the amount of time I've got allotted, as I mentioned, I'm in school, finishing my bachelor's. I just knock the processor up to 4.4, leave it sit. You know, if I have time, I'll get into seeing how well it can overclock, and I'll get into the processor in a minute. But as of now, I really just, oh my God, this case, such better airflow. I mean, you remember that thing was like a desert in there. And boy, if it I'll just say this. Okay, I love this feature where, I don't know how well you can see it during the day, but, okay, I press the, it's got an internal fan controller. You press that, you know, when you want a little bit more cooling during the day, whatever. And then when you want to watch a movie or something, press it again and it downshifts. Really, really nice. And it's got room. You can put a 360 radiator on top. I've got a 240. I'll get to that. The back side panel is plentiful for room. Now, as you know from some of the videos I've done, when I'm not inspired to do so, cable management is not something I give a damn about. It's on the other side. Nobody sees it. Who cares? And that being said, the thing opens and closes perfectly fine. Look. See? I don't give a damn. And it's closed. There you go. Even for a schmuck like me, it works. Now, I'll get to that front panel in a minute, but I want to keep going with the case. So, all right, here, let me move one of the Logitech speakers. That is cavernous. In fact, my brother-in-law said, this area here is so empty that, because obviously the holidays are coming up, I should put a nativity, you know, like Jesus and the, you know, the angels and all that. I should put a nativity scene in there. Maybe even for Halloween, I should put, I don't know, what the hell, a scream mask or something. I don't know. But yeah, you can see there is plentiful room. Now, I was able to remove both the hard drive cages because stock, this came with a hard drive cage here, hard drive cage here. And I was like, what the hell? That is going to destroy the airflow. Because look, I mean, you got two 140s right in the front, which is terrific. Love it. But you have a hard drive cage here, especially if you want to go with SLI. That's going to, you know, wreck the airflow a little bit. So I thought, God, because I've got one 4 terabyte Western Digital storage drive. And I don't want a freaking hard drive cage in there for one hard drive. So I thought, you know what? There's always optical bays up there. Why not put them to use? So I got a 5 1/4 to 3.5 inch adapter. Went ahead, put my hard drive right in the top there. Now the adapter is by a company called Orico, I think it's called. Orico? I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that, but really did a nice job. You can see it just sitting in there. And I greatly appreciate that. These are useless. Unless you've got absolutely perfect, you know, drive. I even at one point had the old Blu-ray drive in there, and those damn things didn't work. So, whatever. But, yeah, it was really nice. Was able to get the front panel piece back on, which that came with a push button originally, and I thought that looked stupid, so I took it out. And then, yeah, I put 120 millimeter fan in the back. I'm sorry, 140 millimeter, and it's a white LED. I'm not going to put one in the bottom because I don't want to destroy the positive airflow. And then I will get more to this, but I put two 120s that are white LED in the top. Those are static pressure. Make sure you always put static pressure fans on a radiator. And pretty much that'll do it for the case. I appreciate the fact that they've got two USB 3s as opposed to that where I had to add the kit. Okay, let's go on to the front panel. Now, this is the ROG from Asus, obviously. This is their front bay. Now, it's not something that I particularly need, but I thought it was a really good touch. You can see I've just got it at 4.4. And I just kind of let it sit there. But what you can do is when you're doing stuff like overclocking, whatever, you can edit the RPMs for whichever fans you got hooked up to the motherboard. And then, you know, you can just kind of cycle through. And they got it set up like a car. I don't know. It's kind of neat. I don't know. I thought mainly for a nice little touch. It's got a USB 2, which I like because I can hook my phone up to that, and I don't got to bring it all the way up here. Plus, if I want to use jump drives, you know, it's not wasting a potential slot up there. And yeah, I don't use any of the other features. You know, obviously I don't use this has an overclocking feature where I think it goes up to 4.4, but if you're using something like that and not going into the BIOS, you should be yelled at. So yeah, kind of going with a little bit of a ROG theme for this build. Oh, the motherboard. Okay, let's get on to the meat. In fact, why don't I just take this frickin' side panel off? Which is really easy. Look at that. It just works on latches. That is the easiest I've ever done with a case. Okay. So, motherboard. Now, I decided to go with the Maximus VII Hero from Asus, the Z97. I decided to go with this instead of X99 because, frankly, as I said about the water cooling, I don't use the kind of applications where I necessarily need 6 cores. Okay? I do gaming now and then. I do schoolwork. I do video editing sometimes. But yeah, I don't need 6 cores. And frankly, there's not enough applications out there that warrant 6 cores. Modern games today barely use 4. So it's a really, really nice motherboard. Now, my be a little tough to see in there, but that heatsink lights up and it looks really good without that second graphics card in there. You can't really see it too well right now, but you can still see the outlines. Also, the onboard audio. Everybody's been saying Supreme FX 2014 is the greatest thing, you know, in the world. Well, I kept my sound card because, yes, it's certainly better than onboard audio that I've had. And the chip is in there, but it's frankly blocked. It's better, but compared to a dedicated sound card. I've got the Sound Blaster Z. It's not, I can tell the difference, okay? Now, I'm sure there's settings you can go through which make it sound around about the same as a sound card, but spending the time to do that rather than just hooking up a sound card, I don't think that's really a worthy use of your time. So if you've got a sound card, don't ditch it for the onboard audio. If you don't have a sound card, maybe you can get away with it. However, you've got a really nice set of headphones, like I have. The Audio-Technica ATH-M50X. You're probably going to want a sound card. You're also probably going to want an amplifier, which I've got that as well. That is, I think you pronounce it FIO. If I'm mispronouncing that, please don't destroy me. FIO, it's their E6 amplifier. I got it free with the headphones, so yeah, it's really nice. The sound quality compared to even just the sound card, okay, compared to, remember I had the SteelSeries Siberia V2, these headphones fucking rock compared to that. Oh, it's night and day. It's opening a whole new world. As soon as you put on headphones that are really good, you listen to every track of your music all over again. It literally is like hearing for the first time. That aside, let's get on to the processor. I decided to go with the Intel 4790K Devil's Canyon. It's stock at 4.0. Turbo's up to 4.4, which is what I got it at now, at 1.15 volts. So it runs pretty cool. You can see at the front. Maybe. It's only at 30 degrees. So it runs really cool. I haven't had it get up higher than 55 in OCCT, which, yes, that is what I test for stability instead of Prime 95. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really get a sense of its overclocking potential, but that is something I plan to do at some point because I really want to see if I did win the Silicon lottery. I'm kind of guessing I didn't because 1.15, while good, it's not mind-blowing. So I'm kind of guessing I didn't. While we're on the processor, I'll get to the cooling. Corsair H105. I just went with the 105 instead of the 110 because, frankly, it had a better deal. Also, I'm not sure if the 110 has them because I didn't really delve that deep into it. But I really like the fact that you can change that ring out. It came gray stocked, but I'm kind of going with the red and black. I'm not paid by Asus or anything. I'm just kind of going with that for this build. Also, the reason I've got the hoses going up this way instead of this way is because I had it originally the other way around, where the hoses were going up here, but restrictive airflow. Okay, I've got this instead of on the 800D. Remember, I had this as an intake because there was no fresh airflow at all, except for a little bit underneath. This at least has positive airflow, so I've got that as an exhaust. And if these hoses are right in front here, okay, restriction, whereas they're over here, I mean, what the hell is that restricting? Nothing. So I just put them up through there, leave it set. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, some people are really fussy about if it blocks their RAM or what. there's a ton of room in there. I mean, those are Dominator GTs with those long-ass heat spreaders. It is perfectly fine. Speaking of the RAM, I stuck with the Dominator GT DDR3 2000, 16 gigabytes worth. That is the exact same RAM I had before, because frankly, I didn't see a need to upgrade. DDR3 2000, I've got it running at 2133, CL9. I believe I got it at 9/11/11/27. I've had it at 2400 because the internal memory controller on that chip is so damn good. That RAM is from 2010, and I had it running at 2400. But I had to knock it up to CL10. And frankly, I was getting a little bit of stability issues. I wasn't willing to play around with the voltage with the RAM. So I figured, hey, why not just knock it back to 2133 CL9? And it's working like a champ ever since. And one thing I would be willing to do is, frankly, go with 2 sticks of 8, so I get 16. You know, that's a little bit of better overclocking potential for the chip if just 2 DIMM slots are occupied. But I haven't seen any real worthy RAM since, and frankly don't expect to, because DDR4 is next on the block. That's also one of the reasons I didn't go with X99, because price premium on DDR4 is frankly so high right now. Graphics cards. I decided to go with the Asus Strix 970s. Those are the overclock edition. So, now you can look up what the the clocks are. But I've had them jacked pretty high. I've had them go past 1400 on boost. Now, I originally just had one because there has been a shortage of these. In fact, NowInStock.net is where I've been F5ing for the past couple weeks. And just so happens by chance, one day I was tooling around on Newegg, and oh, there it's in stock right before it was on NowInStock.net. So thankfully I was able to nick one, and so I've got SLI rocking, which is great, except for the fact that, damn it, all these games are coming out and they aren't SLI supported. I don't even think Wolf New Order has SLI support yet. It's like, you guys. Okay. Slight rant. We're buying all this stuff. Okay? This is just my opinion. These freaking consoles are making it so that, you know, like, frame rates are capped, resolution is being capped, you know, 900p or whatever. I have no idea what that's going to translate over to on PC. But fact of the matter is, we can't really push a lot of our equipment. You got things like Witcher 3 coming out, which is terrific because CD Projekt Red is very PC-centric. But fact of the matter is, we've got terrific equipment as PC gamers, and we're not getting the games that we want because they're being held back. So that really sucks. And SLI support is one of those things which, damn it, these new titles, there's got to be better support. There's just got to be. NVIDIA, please get on that shit. Now, solid state drive. I'll kind of come back to a brief overview of everything. Solid state drives. I stuck with the Vertex 3 just for, you know, random Steam games. And then that's a 120 gigabyte. Samsung 850 Pro 256 gigabyte. I should have gone with the 512 because once you get your OS on there, once you get Skyrim on there, fully modded, once you get Deus Ex Human Revolution on there, there's not a lot of room left. There's just not. So, I mean, I think I got like 30 gigabytes free, but I haven't exactly been chunking the stuff on either. So, yeah, I should have gone with the 512. And by the way, there's no real reason these days to RAID 0 because these are so freaking fast now that you're maxing out the internal controller. So unless you got a RAID card, there's no reason going with the RAID 0. Not like the old days. Remember when I was running with the Vertex 2 and, you know, I had to RAID 0 them because, hey, you really want to max out that internal controller. Just one of these damn things will do it. So unless you're going with M2 or M.2, which is bleeding new, and the slot is behind there, as is everything else, apparently. Unless you're going with something like that, there's really no point. And there's a new one coming out. What is it? NVMe? NVM Express. So, okay, something else I wanted to mention, because I know people are going to be wondering about this. Runs at 8. Runs at 8 in terms of in the PCI Express slots. Now, this is PCI Express 3.0. Totally different than PCI Express 2.0. I believe the bandwidth is 4 times what 2.0 was. So, you will be perfectly fine running it at 8 and 8. Stock runs at 16. Okay, with just one card, it's fine. Okay, I've done plenty of benchmarks. You're not losing maybe 1 or 2 frames, as opposed to getting, you know, say the Maximus Formula, the big boy, or Rampage, where, you know, you can run 2 at 16. It's not that big of a deal. Plus, if you have a sound card put in, okay, that's running off one of the PCI Express 1 slots. Those run off the chipset, okay? So it's not like 8, 8, 1 on there, because the chip will only handle 16. Okay, it'll only handle 16 lanes, that Devil's Canyon. So you will be fine, because that's running off the chipset. There's 2 others running off the chipset, and there's also a bottom slot in there that's running off the chipset. It's in there, trust me. And also the M.2 is running off the chipset. So it's not 17. Okay, it's 16 and then chipset. Just thought I would clarify that, because there seems to be some confusion out there. Also, real quick for the front panel. The audio cable, because I've been seeing reviews where people are just bitching that the audio cable isn't long enough. They've apparently revised that, because the one that came with mine was perfectly fine. And I've also heard that if you have a short one, they will send you a free extended length cable. I read some stuff where guys are saying, oh my god, mine's so tight like a banjo string. But it works fine. Do not worry. Yeah, that's the only EVGA product I will buy right now. The 850 watt G2, fully modular. Johnny Guru, who I listened to implicitly, rated it very high. It's gold rated. And the thing I liked, which EVGA seems to have this idea that people want red. No, black. Okay, that's one of the reasons I went with this power supply instead of the bigger one, is because their other power supplies have red, and they will charge you around $90 if you want black ones. So, whatever to that. So I just stuck with the lower one, and these are so power efficient that I haven't come close to pushing that yet. So 850 watts with a similar setup, you can perfectly fine get away with that. And when was the last time you said that about an SLI setup, that you could get away with an 850 watt power supply? Used to be in the GTX 480 days, you need a minimum of 1,000 watt. Minimum. Remember that one with the big heat pipes coming out? This is fine. Okay, these are cool to the touch. Perfectly fine. I'm not screaming out in pain like I would be with the Harley pipes that were on the GTX 480. The back plate is absolutely beautiful. And then, yeah, I am well aware about the NZXT cable strips where it's an LED going all the way around. I am well aware of that. However, OCD me, if just one of those LCD lights went out, I would have to take the whole damn thing out. And that is frankly something I am not prepared to deal with. So I just figured, hey, I'll put a sun stick right there. White. I don't know if that's coming off blue on the screen, but it's white. And then I've got a backup one in case that comes out. Always have backups. I've also got fan backups. Always have backups. Because what are you going to do? Trust Best Buy? Monitor. I've still got the same Asus 27-inch, 120 hertz, 1080p still, but it's got 3D, which I use occasionally, which is another reason why the 2 graphics cards are so important. Because when you're using 3D, basically you can slice your frames in half. Now, I had been looking at the ROG Swift 1440p that is also 144 hertz. However, price point right now at $800 is just way too high for a TN monitor. I'm sorry. There's been people who have said, oh, this is the best TN monitor I've ever seen. It's a freaking TN monitor, okay? No, I'm not paying $800. I don't care if I do have a ROG theme going here, and if it would have the glowing ring right there, fine. I'm not one of those people where I figure, you know, I've got a ROG theme going. My life is just not complete without something ROG. Okay, I'm perfectly content. I will wait however long it takes for there to be more competition on the market, because I believe right now Acer has a 4K that's got G-Sync in it, and the ROG Swift has G-Sync. That's pretty much it for what's really quality out there with G-Sync in it. So I'm going to wait for there to be more competition, because more competition breeds more innovation and lower prices. And that is called system information before anybody asks. That was a gadget before Windows 7 stopped supporting gadgets, but I just said to you, and I saved the gadget in a folder and was able to put it back on. Yes, I've stuck with Windows 7. Did not go to Windows 8. Various reasons for that. And the reason I put it back in this build is because, you know, Windows 10's coming out at the end of the year, probably. And if that's any good, I'll upgrade to that. Not going to go into Windows 8.1, or Windows 9, I guess they're calling it. Not going to go into that for a couple months. One thing I want to mention real quick. You may have noticed how ghetto that is right there. Okay? Because, can we please get these companies... I know they're trying to keep costs down, but I would be willing to pay $2 extra if you'd have a light stick that would have black. Just black. Okay, there's yellow on that cord, and anybody that knows anything about me knows I can't stand anything yellow in my setup. Nothing yellow. Yellow is next to diarrhea brown when I had the 5870s and I had to use as damn crossfire bridges. Nothing yellow, please. Black, black, black. You are going to have to pry that Logitech G19 from my dead hands. There's been other keyboards that have come across the pipe, which have been kind of interesting. You had that Corsair RGB with the tramp stamp. Luckily, they've rectified that. But, you know, I can't get away from that. Something really funny. Okay, a little bit of tidbit. My nephew, who you might have seen in the ALS challenge video, he likes to come in when I'm, you know, off doing something else, and he likes to put it to pink. I don't know if that's coming up. Pink or purple. It's slightly purple. But, yeah. Then I come in, what in... You can just... then you can hear giggling in the other room. That's one of the fun things about having a little kid around. But, yeah. It's fine. It's a gaming keyboard. It's not a mechanical keyboard. And I am firmly of the notion that if you're complaining that it is too difficult to push keys down, you need to get to working out. Because this literally causes no strain at all. It's fine. Now, you could say something about the noise if perhaps you're a streamer and you don't want people to hear you constantly clicking around. I can understand that. But for regular use, who cares? They're keys. You push them down. You don't necessarily need... Maybe I just haven't had enough experience with mechanical keyboards yet, but I just don't see the big deal. And then my Razer Lachesis, however you want to say it. Nice thing about that is you can change colors around. So my other setup, I had it green, able to change it to red, perfectly fine. And then you can see, still got some P90X discs over here, which I used to use until I became so knowledgeable at them that I don't even need to use the discs anymore because I know them by heart. And I've just got a Xbox controller over there for the very rare times I use it. Farscape books, which I heard they're coming out with a new Farscape movie, thank God. And I think, I ended up getting a external Blu-ray drive because that one that was in there was causing major issues. I don't know if it's because legacy or... I mean, it's a 5-year-old Blu-ray drive, but installing Windows was a pain. It would not read the disc. So, you know what? Whatever. Time to get that out of there because I wanted to get that hard drive out of there anyways. So I ended up getting a LG external USB 3.0, which if I'm ever out on the go or I want to loan that out to somebody, hey, there you go. It's white, but so what? Not everything needs to be black. White is perfectly fine. And then I've got, that's a Buffalo USB 3.0. That's 3 terabyte. It's really nice for the system image, you know. In case you need anything in the future, you need to add terabytes worth of data, that'll handle it. And Buffalo is very, very highly rated. I like Buffalo quite a bit. I've had a couple of their products, actually. And then one other thing you may be noticing, for the eagle-eyed among you, why I do not have that Airflow Pro, the diagnostic type, on the RAM. It's because, as opposed to the P67, the Z97, the RAM sticks are flipped. So the connector for the Airflow Pro is down there. It's on the bottom. It used to be on the top, and the cords won't reach. So, whatever, man. I actually think it looks better without the Darth Vader chest thing going on. I don't know. That's just me. Black and red theme. But yeah, like I said, this is probably going to be just about it for a while. Except for seeing what kind of 1440p, 144 hertz, hopefully IPS comes out with G-Sync. I know that might be a pipe dream, but I'm really hoping that some companies come forth and try to get that done, because I am not, if it goes on sale maybe, but I'm not spending $800 for a TN monitor. Just not happening. So that is pretty much it. I think I've basically covered everything. Like I said, make sure you go with static pressure fans. If you got a radiator, it'll say SP120. And pretty much that's it. If there's anything else, I will add it at a later date. But yeah, you have the overview of my system. Yeah, this thing, like I said, my cold dead hands. You move this frickin' keyboard and this came off like 2 weeks after I installed the thing. These plastic, ugh. Build quality on that was not the greatest by Logitech. Whatever. SteelSeries mousepad works well. So yeah, that is the tour. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. And as I said, if there's anything else that I add, you will be the first to know. Thanks for watching, everybody. Talk later.